Well, good Wednesday morning, everybody. Cecil Pearson Jr. coming at you here live on YouTube. I hope that each and every one of you are just as blessed as I am. I know I'm blessed this morning. Well, hello, Adrian, Fernando, Frank, a random guy, Logan, Levin Waters, Diane, Clint, Jesse, John, Felicia, Sapphire, Grim, Chrissy, Terry, Evan. Good to see all of y'all this morning. It's 52 here, buddy. So we're right there with you. Hello, Brandy, Felicia, Dylan, Gail, Richard, Halfback. Title of today's message is, As the Tree Falls, So Shall It Lay. As a tree falls, so shall it lay. And early this morning, it was 39 here. I hope each and every one of you are just as blessed as I am, if not more so. Oh, Glenda. Oh, yeah, Terry, we'll keep him in our prayers. I got a bunch of family. Well, not really family, but friends and some family right there where this thing's going in at down there at Bradenton. They said this morning that thing's going to be pushing an 18-foot storm surge. That's where my first cousin's at. Jay. We were raised as brothers. So yeah, I love him. And that's where both my adopted daughters are. But God's got them. God's got them. Hello, Miss Teresa, Kay, Ash, April, good to see y'all. Gail.
That was well timed, man.
Yeah, well, it was well timed, but that's not what I was laughing at. Y'all know how Gail usually walks around the house and the little spaghetti strap shirts and the shorts. Come here, Gail.
It's too cold out there for that.
Wintertime has come.
Man, we're talking full ankle length pants here, okay? And socks and slippers.
Sweater weather.
I had to give my sweater to William this morning. He couldn't find his, and the bus was at Baker's, okay?
Oh, my goodness. Well, y'all see me. But the first day it was in the 60s. The shorts went away and the overalls come out. And now the overalls won't go away until it gets up into the 70s and 80s again come next year. And the overalls will be on me until then. I got to find me some long sleeve flannel shirts to wear this year. That way I'm not so cold, because I like to froze to death last year. Lord have mercy. I was getting thermal shirts and turtlenecks and everything else to wear underneath these t-shirts because I was just so cold. I'm going to try to get me some flannel shirts this year. I know last year they wanted a king's ransom for them, so I wasn't able to get none. Morning, Brent. Hey, you be careful down there in Florida, Terry. I appreciate that, Miss Teresa. Well, guys, let's just get on started with this morning. The Lord gave me something yesterday going to town. Oh, praise God. Yes, it does. Yeah, Kentucky does too. But the Lord gave me something as I was going to town yesterday. And I mean, I never, ever get to preach in parables. But I'm going to get to today. Just like Jesus did. So y'all take what I'm fixing to give you and take it to heart here, because it's fairly important. Not somebody, not part of you, but each and every one of you that is in this chat this morning. I think I said, hey, Glenda, I'm not sure, but I want to make certain that I did. Hello, Indian Creek. But each and every one of you that's in chat this morning, and myself, our lives are likened to a tree. In the wintertime, we're cold, lifeless, and barren. We show no signs of life whatsoever. But when the sun gets on us in the springtime, we start to bud and we start to show just little signs of life. And by the time the summertime comes around, we have grown in His Word, in His presence, until our leaves are full and thick and provide plenty of shade or comfort to those that are around us. And then in the fall, our leaves change colors and we really begin to be something for the entire world to behold. We're walking with God, we're talking with God, we're praising God, we're giving God the glory for everything. And everything is just beautiful. And people want to get to know you. They want to come around you. They want to see you. They want to be with you. But then at the first sign of trouble, at the first sign of a trial and a tribulation, all those beautiful leaves begin to fall off, and they litter the ground all around where we stand. And we're dry and we're barren again without any signs of life. Church, this is not just about the cycle of a tree, it's about the cycle of a Christian. Each and every time we go through hard trials and tribulations, we lose our ability to praise and to worship. We lose our ability to pray and to seek God's will. And those leaves fall off and lay all around us. And this is the very thing that people came to us for. Yet now they lay on the ground scattered around us. So we've got to start that walk over again. God found it! I swear I hate that devil. But this is where we begin to start our walk over. We finally call out to God, and His warmth and His love surrounds us and causes us to start budding as a brand new Christian.
I'm coming.
Devil, you can kiss my entire tail.
Just a weekly test.
Of course.
Wednesday at 10.
But the warmth of God surrounds us, and we start to bud as a new Christian. And we start our walk with Him again. And it may be years that we're growing and we're studying and we're in His Word. And we're getting stronger and stronger and stronger and bigger. And our canopy is becoming fuller and fuller with God's comfort, His grace, His mercy, His forgiveness. But make no mistake about it, the winter time is coming. You will face another trial. You will face another tribulation. You will face another issue that'll cause your leaves to turn and to fall. You may hold those beautiful colors for everybody to see for years, but something will come along in your life that will cause you to stumble. Jesus knew that. I really do wish we could worry more about this message than the temperature. See, that's part of what's wrong with society today. They're too busy worried about everything except what thus saith the Lord. Focus, people, or I swear I'm going to stop coming on here. It's a waste of my time. And time is something that's precious to me because I ain't got much of it left. One of these days, a lot of people are going to come to my channel and they're going to have to go and play reruns of what I've already said to hear me preach because I'm going to be dead. I'm going to be gone. And y'all going to wish that you could get a new message from Brother CJ. But there ain't going to be none because I'm going to be in glory. I was watching myself this morning over on Facebook. Memories popped up. And 2 years ago, on a Sunday, hello RL, I was taking a ride down to Jenny and Joey's. This was long before I got sick. I was taking a ride down to Jenny and Joey's. I love them too, I do. But the Lord kind of spoke to me as I was riding along, and Maddie started videoing. And it was much like this tree message this morning. The rise and fall of the road, the mountains, the horizon, and how we always got another mountain in front of us that we got to go over. And we seem like we fight for weeks, months, sometimes years, just to climb one mountain. And instead of getting to hang out on the mountaintop for weeks, months, or years, we immediately start back down in the valley. And then we have to walk through the valley and then climb back up the next mountain. That's the way God has designed our life. Is we rise and we fall. We go up, we go down. We live and we die. And it would be so much better if more people would pay attention to the messages that come to them when they're in the valley, because it's in these messages that somebody needs the secret that's in them to get them out of the valley and up the mountain. I don't just listen to myself preach. I listen to other preachers. I'm not going to name them, but I listen to other preachers. I got to get fed too. But I've noticed every time a preacher starts to get to a real nugget that I need for my life, the phone will ring. The cotton picking Facebook Messenger will go off. Emails will flood in all at one time. And I have learned to let somebody else answer the phone, ignore the messages, and ignore the emails, and get my nugget. Because I need that nugget for what I'm going through. Have you ever noticed sometimes you just fall on a preacher? Or fall across a preacher, not fall on a preacher, but fall across a preacher, or come across one, and what he's speaking is speaking directly to you. It wasn't coinkydink that you found that preacher. God wanted you where you are to hear the message he might have given somebody 5 years ago. But he wanted you where you're at today so you could hear what he had to say. You want to know why the title of this message is what it is? As a tree falls, so shall it lays. First, let's look at felling a tree. At what? At felling a tree. When a man with a chainsaw or a woman with a chainsaw goes out to drop a tree, they first got to pick where they want that tree to land. And when they go to cutting that tree, they want to notch it on the side that they want it to fall on. And you'll see them out, wow, wow, and they'll knock that notch out. And then they'll get on the back side of the tree, wow, 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 wow. And they're cutting. And as they get deeper in the tree, they'll take a wedge and they'll shove it between the top half and the bottom half of the tree, above and below the cut. Right into the cut, they'll put the wedge. And then they'll hammer that wedge in there. And that wedge will separate that tree just like that. The deeper in you drive the wedge, the further apart it pushes the cut. Until all at once, the person running that chainsaw hears the magical popping and cracking of the last few remaining fibers of the tree breaking. That lets them know it's time to move away. And where that tree falls, that's where it's going to lay. You can't stand that tree up and cut it again and make it fall in a different direction. It's going to lay where it hits the ground. That's you, my friends. If you die in sin, you spend eternity in hell. As the tree falls, so shall it lay. No amount of baptisms for the dead done by the Mormons is going to get you out of hell. No amount of praying by me, Scott, Brent, Chrissy, Grim, Glenda, Janet, Albert, no amount of praying by all of us together is going to redeem your everlasting soul. As you die, so shall you be judged. If you die a sinner, you will live eternity in punishment as a sinner. If you die saved, under the grace and the forgiveness and mercy of God, then you'll hear those words. Enter in, my good and faithful servant, for I shall give you rest. But you're only going to hear one or two statements. Enter in, or depart from me, you worker of iniquity, for I've never known you. There are no other statements. There are no, well, you lived a pretty good life, so I guess you can go over here. Well, you were pretty bad, but not all the way awful, so I guess you can go there. No, you got one or two. Heaven or hell, that's it. Heaven or hell, that's it. As the tree falls, so shall it lay. Now, it don't matter if you fall during a trial or a tribulation, or if you fall when your colors are full and bright. The only thing that matters is when you fall at the feet of Jesus. That's all that matters. You're supposed to face trials and tribulations. You're supposed to go through stuff, hardships. You're supposed to go through it. God expects it. He allows it to happen for you to prove your worth to Him. Don't like it, don't care. It's the fact. It's just the way it is. And I know a lot of people don't want to hear this morning, but I really don't care. It's what God said, preach. You know, if people if people were to treat every day as if it were the Sabbath, how great would your walk and your life with God be? How wonderful would that be? I think about it. And you know what? I preach 5, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. That means 5, 6, 7 days a week, I'm getting to talk straight to God and to hear Him and bring forth what He says. Some of y'all aren't in here every day. Oh, Angela, Billy, Beverly, Scott, Isaac, Sapphire. Some of y'all aren't here every day. You can't be. Life gets in the way. But I am. Oh, Tony, okay. Life gets in the way. Sometimes you just can't be here. You got appointments that you got to do. You got first one thing and another that you got to do. But I get to be here and work with God every single time He gives me something to come say. That's a blessing. But don't you sit there and think that Brother CJ ain't got his share of trials and tribulations. Let me tell you about last night. Gail fixed up some fried pork chops that we got on sale. She fixed up a can of turnip greens, mustard. I'll get it right in a minute. Collard greens. And she fixed up some rice. And she brought it out here to me, and she brought my Heinz 57 because that's what I like with my pork chop. And she brought me some peppercini juice because I like to put that pepper juice on my greens. The only thing the meal was missing was cornbread. I ate my meal. Could only eat about half what she brought me. And in less than 30 minutes' time, I was throwing it all up. And I threw up for the next 5 hours. I stopped throwing up about 1:30 in the morning. Had nothing to do with what she fixed. It had everything to do with whatever's going on inside my body. Some stuff I can keep down, some stuff I can't. What I can keep down today, I won't be able to keep down tomorrow. That's just a cold, hard fact of the matter. It's the way it is. And it is what it is. But I still trust God. And you can ask Brent now if y'all think I'm kidding. Brent was on with me last night when it started. I'm losing weight like an Auschwitz prisoner. Then I'm not making fun of Jews. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm losing weight like I've been kept in a concentration camp. I'm turning to skin and bones. But I trust my God. I have to because the doctors won't help me. God's all I've got left. So I have to trust Him. But I'm still alive. And I'm still sitting here. And I'm still doing what God asked me to do. I still have the same worries that y'all have. How am I going to pay the bills this month? I ain't got no money. How am I going to pay the bills? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? How am I going to take care of this for my kids? How am I going to take care of that for my grandkids? I went to Walmart yesterday to get some stuff to make a cake. There's going to be a Cooking with CJ video today. I'm going to be making an apple cake. Well, part of the ingredients for that apple cake is pecans. Not pecan, pecans. P-E-C-A-N. Pecans. It cracks me up, pecan. No, it don't say P-E-C-O-N. It says P-E-C-A-N. Every day it's that way, Terry. It's every day. I vomit 15 or 20 times a day. It's just part of it. But Walmart ain't had a single pecan in the whole store. Not in any form, shape, or fashion. Not none. So I had to go to IGA to get them. But also, they also didn't have any store brand brown sugar. There was a lot of stuff the Walmart store did not have. And no, we ain't fixing to get off on that again. But IGA had the pecans that I want. I'm going to tell you a pecan story here in a minute, Terry. But IGA had the pecans that I wanted and got some eggs because my cake requires 6 eggs. But that's okay. I was able to get what I needed to make the cake. As we enter deeper into these days of tribulation, God's forgiveness is selling out quick. The shelves are starting to get mighty thin with His grace, His mercy, His compassion, and His forgiveness. It's starting to get less and less of it. So if you need some forgiveness, if you need some of His grace, if you in need of some of that mercy, some of that love, you better get it now while the getting's done before God is sold out. Because once it's gone, won't be no more.
My brother says so. God said He'd be with us until the end of days.
No. God said He'd be with the believers to the end of days. God said all the way back in Genesis, my spirit shall not always strive with man. Y'all better remember, God knew how it was going to end when He built the joint. When He built this place, He knew the ending already. And what day it was going to be on. He knew it all. God said, my spirit shall not always strive with man. There's going to come a day when there'll be no forgiveness to be had. Lest you remember, and they shall hide in the mountains and pray that the rocks fall down on them to end their suffrage. They shall pray for death, but but death shall not find them. They shall pray for death, but death shall not find them. You better know it. Growing up, my family had lots of pecan trees. They had pecan orchards there in Georgia. Well, just at my grandma Ruth's, you could pick up a semi-truck load of pecans. And I ain't talking about little seedlings or them paper shells. I'm talking about Stewart's, the best of the best when it come to pecans. That's what we grew. There was a big Stewart tree in my yard. Daddy also liked them long Texas paper shells. So there was one of them in the yard too. But Grandma Ruth had a pecan tree on each side of her house and about a dozen behind it. And that was the family's pecans. Once Mama and little Granny and Big Granny and Aunt Mary Ann and Eddie T and Uncle Earl and Uncle Jim and Uncle Walter all come and got what they wanted of pecans, then Grandma would have me get out there and pick them up, what was left. We'd load them up in 5-gallon buckets and take them off to the Anderson Pecan Company
in Reidsville where we'd sell it. Now, you got to remember, I was raised in the same place my whole life. From the time I was 1 year old to the time I was 18. That's where I lived. That was it. I never noticed that pecans were sold in stores. I never noticed. If you'd asked me, what do you think was happening in them pecans you're selling? I thought they was going down the road to Glenville to the candy company. They made pecan logs. Pecan rolls, for those that don't know what a pecan log is. And they went down there to make turtles. I always thought they went to the candy companies. I didn't know people went to the store and bought little packets of pecans. I didn't have a clue. I did not know that. Well, my mama always had bread sacks. You know what a bread sack is, right? It's that bag. It's got sunbeam writ on it that your loaf of bread comes in. Moma'd always take, she'd shell out 8 cups of pecans in her big 8-cup measuring cup, and she'd pour it into a bread sack. She'd spin that thing down, tie it off, put it in the freezer. She'd do it again. We had the thing called, and I wish I could get one now, but I can't. They're too expensive. Inertia nutcracker. You took that thing, and it sat on a table and had a little thing to come down like this that hooked the table. You take that thing and you put the nut in this end, and then you slide the little cover off the weight over the nut, and then you pull this back and you turn it loose, and rubber bands and slam that thing into the pecan, and it would crack it one at a time. I cracked pecans with an inertia nutcracker from the start of pecan season till Christmas time. That's the last part of October to the middle of December. I cracked pecans for 2 hours a day, every day, even on Sunday. And my mama spent the next day shelling out what I cracked and putting them in the freezer. I never knew everybody didn't do that. I also didn't know that everybody didn't can tomatoes and corn and butter beans and peas and green beans and squash and greens. I didn't know. I thought everybody did it because we did. Not the case. My uncle, when I first realized that, my Uncle J.W. had come up from Florida with Jason and Jeffrey and Aunt Katie. And curiosity got the better of him. And he asked my daddy, he says, Cecil, what's out yonder in that wood building you got back there? He says, go out there and look. You're welcome to look. My uncle walked out there and he opened up the door to that little house. And I've told y'all about this little house. All the way around it with shelves, top to bottom, 3 foot thick, 3 foot deep, 2 foot high, full of jars of stuff. And my uncle come walking out of there, and he had him a jar of tomatoes, a quart jar of tomatoes. And he took a ring off of it, and he's fighting with that seal with his pocket knife, and he popped that off, and he smelt of it, and turned it up and drank it, took a taste of it. And it run my uncle insane at how wonderful them canned tomatoes tasted. Because, see, they didn't have that metal flavor that you get off of ones in the store. Mama always put a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of sugar in her tomatoes. Made them have a little sweetness to it. And when he took that drink of them tomatoes, he ate the whole jar. He drank that whole jar of tomatoes. Speaking of which, hey, Gail.
Yes.
Hey, I got a jar of my tomato juice in there.
Yes.
Will you go get it, please?
Yeah. Hold on.
But he drank that. And he about lost his mind. He come back over and he says, Cecil, come out here. And my daddy went out. He said, come on, Junior. You're going to love this. Because my Uncle J.W. lived in St. Petersburg, Florida. Right this side of Tampa.
It ain't been opened yet, so it might
Look
have
at him.
trouble.
Oh, my goodness. That is nature's goodness right there. Mm-hmm. Well, my uncle was out there. Morning, Diego. My uncle was out there, and he says, these peppers, is they hot? Daddy looked over at me and he went, I don't know. Them peppers hot, boy? I went, yeah, them are, but them over yonder's banana peppers, they ain't hot. My uncle looked at me and he goes, how you know that? I said, I was here when they was put up. He wasn't. I know what's hot out here and what ain't. He says, them hot peppers really hot? I went, well, yeah, they really hot. I don't believe it. Get me a jar of them. I got him a jar, and it was long hots. The little thin ones. He twisted the top off of it, popped that little cap, reached in there with his fingers. Instead of just dipping his finger in and tasting the vinegar juice, he pulled out a pepper and shook it a little bit. Oh my God, that's hot. My daddy looked right at his brother and went, you think he's lying? He tells you something's hot, you better believe it's hot. He says, give me some of them banana peppers. Got him some banana peppers. He did the same thing. He said, now that's good. That's sweet. Got a good pepper flavor to it. He says, Cecil, I want 6 jars of this hot to go home. And I want 6 jars of this. And I'll take as many jars of the tomatoes as you'll let me have. Daddy said, load up your trunk. We keep plenty. They put us boys to work. I stopped working. I walked over to my uncle. I said, I want to ask you a question. He says, all right. Why are you taking all our food? Why ain't you got none of your own? And my daddy went, Junior, that's enough. I went, no, sir, it's not. Don't they can down there? And my uncle started laughing. He said, boy, you been to my house, right? I said, yeah. He said, where I'm going to grow enough tomatoes to put in a jar. It takes me 5 minutes to cut my lawn. So where am I going to put enough grass, put enough tomatoes at? And it was there that it began to dawn on me that not everybody lived as we lived. I went back and started loading the car. But it had never dawned on me that people would go into a grocery store, as we had to yesterday, to get pecans and pay $3 for a small pack of pecans about that size. And I had to get 2 of them to have enough. It never dawned on me that you had to go into a store and buy tomatoes, buy squash, buy carrots and peas. We grew all that stuff. And until I moved out of my parents' home and no longer had access to the little house, I never knew people had to pay for that mess. I'd worked at a grocery store. I thought people went in there to buy it by the little cans because they didn't want as much as, a quart. But that weren't so. They didn't have quarts at home. They didn't have pints at home. All they could get was what comes out of a can. As the tree falls, church, so does it lay. Like with this right here. I enjoy me some tomato juice. And that's what this is, tomato juice. It's got a little onion, a little salt, and a little celery in it. And you stick like a slushy. No sugar added to it. Just good. Good for you. But there's a time coming where if you ain't got a quart jar of tomato juice that you canned and put up yourself, honey, you ain't gonna have no tomato juice. There's a time coming where if you ain't got no taters in your tater dig, you ain't gonna get no taters. It's a time coming where if you ain't got no onions in your onion dig, you ain't gonna get no onions. It's a time coming where you ain't got no corn in a jar, you ain't gonna get no corn. And that time coming quick. And when it happens, as your tree fell, so shall it lay. That fits on so many different things. It fits on the soul. It fits on your bank account. It fits on your church life. It fits on everything. Your grocery preparedness, it fits on it all. You know, for almost 4 years now, my property has flooded. Flooded so bad last year, it killed my van. Water went up the tailpipe, got in the motor, and just killed it. It flooded every single small engine I have out there. I had to take them apart, take the carburetors apart, clean them, put them back together, just so they could run. They all work fine now because I'm smart and knew how to fix them. So I called up the state and I said, look at him. I'm going to need y'all to come out here and clean out my ditches. My ditches are on Highway 76. State highway. Y'all's problem, not mine. He said, well, tell me what's going on. And I told him how the water floods across the road from the other ditch on the other side and runs through my yard. Well, they didn't come out here and clean out my ditches. Nope. It took 3 or almost 4 months for them to get out here. But they got out here with a grinder and they ground down all the trees that was on the other side of the road. Smoothed down with the ground, even got the stumps. Then they dug this ditch almost as wide as my house and almost as deep as my house. And it runs down there to the culvert that takes it on the other side and takes it on over to the lake. They dug that out. Hauled out all the dirt. It went out there and sprayed some concrete stuff down on the ground. So now the water just run through and not come across the road into my yard and flood my ditch and flood my driveway and my garage. I wanted them to clean out my ditches because they were my ditches that needed to be cleaned. But the problem wasn't my ditches. The problem was it was stopping up on the other side of the road and forcing that to come over here. So I had to take care of the problem on the other side of the road to solve mine. But all I could see in the grand scheme of things was mine. I couldn't see everybody else's. Much like thinking that everybody else cans and everybody else has pecan trees in the yard. They don't. As your tree falls, so shall it lay. Guys, that's all I got. I love you. Not nearly as much as God, but I love you. I'm praying for you. Please pray for me. I need it. If super chats come in, thank you. That's how we eat. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do so. It helps us. It's free. It don't cost you nothing. But I appreciate each and every one of you. I do. I love each and every one of you. And I hope that you take this message away today, realizing that your life is like the cycle of a tree. You're going to have ups and you're going to have downs. You're going to have times when your canopy is going to be full and green and when it's going to be colorful and everybody wants to see it. But there's also going to be times when it's going to be bare. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that little bell icon, click all. You'll be notified when I go live or upload videos. If you'd like to continue to support the ministry and my family, how to do so is down in the description of every video below. I'm not going through it today. I love you guys, not nearly as much as God, but I love y'all. Bye now.